Hello everybody and welcome back to Gregtech New Horizons. How's your guys' day been? Good? Let me know down in the comments below. So last episode we set up grade 7 water, but I actually did something wrong when I set this up. Down in the comments you actually let me know why this thing wasn't working the first few times, and that was because I was inserting too much of the correct fluid. When I set this up and was reading the wiki, I just saw an image that showed the fluid regulator set up to minus 10,000, and I just read the part that said, do this for the other 6. I missed the part where it said to actually adjust the fluid for each one of the fluid regulators, and I don't know why I didn't cop that, because in the degasser controller, it does say like each fluid and its amounts. So I don't know why that didn't click with me, but I've gone through all the fluid regulators now and I've adjusted them so that they actually have the correct fluid input. So like here, neon is now 7,500, krypton is now minus 5,000, xenon is 2,500, molten neutronium is now 4,608, and the superconductor base is now 1,440. And you also let me know that the bonus output we get from using higher tiers of superconductor only happens when the machine requests the superconductor to complete its cycle. So yeah, now after fixing all the fluid regulators, this guy has been working 100% of the time. And that's amazing now because we are sitting just over 85 million liters of grade 7 water. Everything's turned off at the moment because it's actually consuming way too much power than we're currently generating due to all the parallels I have turned on in here. And instead of turning them down, I'd rather fix our power so we can keep them going. But 85 million should last us quite a while. So the plan for today is to get ourselves hypogen, but I don't know if we will be able to. I'm going to try, because there's actually something else we need to do first, and that is get ourselves this thing here, the Draconic Evolution Fusion Crafter. This requires us to go back into Botania to get ourselves a dense Gaia Spirit plate. And I have been working on the compact fusion reactor. So down here in UEV, this guy here, we're going to be using this compact one for making hypogen, and it has taken me nearly over 3 days to craft everything to build this thing. Like, this thing is huge. And yeah, you can see in here, I've just finished crafting it. It only says it took 46 hours, but I started this well over 46 hours ago. So yeah, total craft time probably took like 2 days, but I started this nearly 3 days ago. So yeah, it's taken a while, but everything now to build ourselves a compact fusion reactor is in this chest. And I cannot wait to set it up. Where I'm going to be setting it up, I'm not entirely sure. I am planning maybe over here. I've measured the height of this building and I should be able to fit about 16 compact fusion reactors in here, but I don't know if this will be where I've set it up. I'm still deciding that. But anyway, we need to get ourselves the Draconic Evolution Fusion Crafter done first. So that means we have to go back to Botania. So I've been doing a little bit of work in Botania trying to prepare for today, and I set up a basic mana automation because we're going to need a lot of mana. Mana is used for making ourselves the Terra Steel, and Terra Steel requires half a mana pool each to craft. And to craft ourselves the dense Gaia Spirit plates, we're going to need 9 of it, and that's not including all the Terra Steel we need to get to that point. Because we need to make ourselves the Elven Gateway Portal and defeat the Gaia Spirit a few times, and each time you summon him, it requires a Terra Steel. So yeah, it's going to be quite expensive. And if we can, I'm going to try and get myself the creative mana pool, this thing all the way up here. And this does require 4 Gaia Spirits and a bunch of extra Gaia Spirits as well. So yeah, we're going to try. And if we can, that'll be amazing, because then that will allow me to craft as much Terra Steel as I want. But just to show the basic automation, I just have an open crate with a hopper on top feeding it diamonds. The open crate drops it onto a wooden pressure plate, so when items are dropped on, it activates the redstone signal, which goes up to the hopper, deactivating it to stop only one item going out at a time. So that burns on these endo flames, and yeah, they go into all these spreaders, and I have multiple spreaders going into more mana distributors to spread it between multiple mana pools. So hopefully we have enough right here. So the main thing we're going to be looking at is this guy here. This is a runic altar. This is what's going to be used for crafting runes, and those runes are going to be used for making this thing here, the terrestrial agglomeration plate. This is what we use to make Terra Steel. So we need 1 of every rune. So the basic automation is fairly simple actually. It just requires a runic altar. I have a redstone comparator coming off the vanilla one. That outputs a redstone signal when this thing is crafting. So a redstone's power of 1. That 1 then goes into this repeater that has a 2-tick delay, which goes up to this hopper. And this locks the hopper if I'm doing multiple crafts at a time. All the patterns are set up in here in this thing here. And yeah, I thought so. I think I messed up one of the patterns in here. I'm only supposed to have 1 rune of air in this pattern. But yeah, so I have all the patterns set up in here. They get inserted into this chest. They feed into the hopper, into an open crate, drop on here, start crafting. When it's crafting, this thing locks. When this guy is finished crafting and needs a right click from a wand of the forest to finish the craft, this guy will actually be outputting a redstone power of 2, which then activates this redstone dust, sending it into a redstone repeater, going all the way over to the dispenser that will right click it with the wand. So for example, let's craft ourselves our first rune, which I've actually already crafted a few, but let's craft ourselves the rune of earth. All the items get fed through the hopper into the open crate, and now it is crafting. All the mana comes from these 2 mana spreaders that have lenses of potency on them. These just allow more mana to be sent each pulse. And if you look right here, we see a redstone power of 1, and this guy here is not being powered. If I just break him for a second, you can see the progress bar slowly filling up. And now it wants a right click with a living rock and a wand of the forest. So the living rock is already placed on top. The wand is in here, but you can see we're outputting redstone power of 2, which then when we do that, completes the craft. So yeah, I just need to sit here now for the next like 5-10 minutes crafting 1 of every rune. And actually I might need a couple of extra runes for this guy in here, so I might make 2 of each. Yeah, this might take a little while, but yeah, I'm gonna see you when I have these done. All right, I've got 1 of every rune now, so we should be able to craft ourselves a terrestrial agglomeration plate. And I just finished the last duplicate there for the creative mana pool. So let's craft this now. We have everything, so start. And I have that set up in a chest over here because there was way too many items in this recipe for the amount of pedestals we have in our arcane infusion. So I need to go add a few more pedestals and craft this thing. Okay, extra pedestals are down, so now I just place 1 of every rune. Okay, every item's down, so the center item is another runic altar. And there we go, terrestrial agglomeration plate. So now we can build the multi-block for it. So to build it, we're going to need some blocks of lapis and some living rock. So you just need to build a 3x3 hole, make an X out of living rock and a circle of lapis, and then the plate in the center. So to transfer mana from the pools to the plate, we're going to use sparks. The sparks have like the fastest mana transfer rate. No, not making a pattern. So 6 sparks, and we're also going to get ourselves 1 dominant spark augment. This will allow this guy here to pull from every other spark. So let's just place down all our sparks right here. I need a lot more than that. No, I'm just going to place a spark on every mana pool. Why not? Okay, I may have missed 1 or 2 mana pools, but at least this should be everything. So now I just right click this augment on this spark, which is on the plate. And now we can craft ourselves some terra steel. So to make it, we're going to need mana steel, mana pearls, and mana diamonds. Turn off my magnet, and we just place 1 of each on the plate. And as you can see, it pulls all the mana, and the more sparks you have to pull mana from, the faster the recipe will be. But there we go. We have our first terra steel. So we even got a trophy for that, so that's nice. And actually, I think there's 1 pattern in here that I need to adjust, or did I already do that? No, I didn't. I have a pattern here set up for making 16 terra steel plates at a time. I want to actually adjust that back down to 1. All right, now, so the thing we're going to be crafting first is the Elven Gateway core, and that requires 4 terra steel plates. So I need to make a lot more terra steel. All right, I've crafted 8 because along with the 4 needed for the Gateway core, we actually need 4 more for making 2 Natra pylons. This requires 2 terra steel plates each as well. So now that we have everything, craft me the Gateway core, and I need to go up and manually craft the Natra pylons. All right, there we go. 2 Natra pylons. And our Gateway core is right here. All right, cool. So now we should be able to build ourselves our Elven Gateway portal. So let's clear a little bit of space. We're going to need a bunch of living wood and some glimmering living wood. Let me just throw this in here to complete the craft. And actually, I don't think this one completed either. So now the other thing we're missing is 2 mana pools. So Elven Gateway core in the center. Then we need to put living wood left and right. And then we need to come up in the diagonal and have a block gap for a glimmering living wood. And you should end up with something like this. Then with the mana pools, you want to come out 3 blocks, over 3, and then place down the mana pool. So it should be something like this. Then you put your 2 natural pylons on top of the mana pools. And now you need to fill those mana pools with some mana. So in preparation, I have 2 or 4 mana tablets in here. We're going to throw 2 in each. Make sure my magnet is turned off. And this should fill the mana pools here up with some mana. Because you do need mana to activate it and mana to trade. And the items we're going to be trading, if we look in here at the Elven Gateway, we are going to be trading some IV circuits for Dragonstone. And Dragonstone is going to be used for making the Unstable Reservoir and Rod of the Bifrost, which is also now needed for the Creative Mana Pool, but mainly for getting ourselves, where is it? Yeah, this thing here, the Gaia Pylon. We need 4 of these to summon the Gaia Spirit. So we're going to need a good few Dragonstones. And only 1 mana tablet holds half a mana pool, so that's why you needed 2 to fill these things. So now to activate the portal, you just right-click with your Wand of the Forest. Hey, there we go. So now we can grab out our IV circuits, and you know what? We might as well just trade a whole stack. We have plenty of mana. And all we have to do is sit here until 64 gets spit out. Right, there we go. 64 Dragonstones. There is other things you can trade. If we look up this, we can also trade for Dreamwood, which will allow us to make better spreaders. And I think we are actually going to need Dreamwood for something with the Creative Mana Pool. So might as well trade some of that. And we're also going to need Elementum and Pixie Dust. So that is Sonarium pieces and small TPV alloy gears. I'll worry about those later. But now we should be able to make ourselves our Gaia Spirit pylons. So I think I need a little bit more Terra Steel. So let me craft up like another 8. And another 10 should be more than enough. Right, so back up here now, I need to craft 2 more pylons. And actually, that's going to require me to make more mana diamond blocks. So let me grab out some diamonds. All right, and now if we look up Gaia, what are we missing from crafting 4 of these guys? We are just missing 8 charged void metal caps. And they are an arcane infusion. That's simple enough. Okay, there we go. Our Gaia pylons are being crafted. There we go. We have all 4. Now, the last thing we're also going to need is another beacon. There we go. So now we have our 4 Gaia pylons and a beacon. And now we can go summon ourselves the Gaia Spirit. So we just need a big flat area. So down here will do no problem. And it's a beacon in the center. And then you have to come out 4 blocks. And on the 4th block, you need to go up a block. So give me out some building blocks here. Place your pylon. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Pylon. And then remove the wood. And just before we fight this guy, I'm actually going to go upgrade my sword, because my sword only does 22 attack damage. I'm going to upgrade to an Infinity Sword Blade, because that guy has pretty decent damage. I don't know what the best material is that allows me to like get the best damage, but just looking at the Infinity Longsword, it does 54 attack damage, and I've already got a lot of sharpness added to this thing, so this should be a pretty strong sword. So with everything added together, this is now a 67 attack damage sword. Not bad. Right, let's summon ourselves our first Gaia Spirit. So we just need a piece of Terra Steel. I made 10 extra, so yeah, let's go ahead and summon him. All right, and now we can take him out. We do 40 damage. That's not bad. I'm pretty sure this guy has a lot of resistance. Where'd he go? There he is. I mean, we're taking off good chunks of his health, so that's pretty good. Now, when we get him low enough on his health, he will go into an invincible state. And he will not take any damage, but yep, there he goes. But he will summon mobs for the next 45 seconds. So we just need to survive the wave of mobs. All right, there we go. Now we just need to finish him off. There we go. So now we have ourselves our Gaia Spirits. What's attacking me? Yeah, the server's slightly laggy, so sometimes, even though he's dead, he's still hitting me. But there we go. We got ourselves 8 Gaia Spirits. Now with the Gaia Spirits, if I just make a pattern quickly, we can now make ourselves a Gaia Spirit Ingot and summon him again. And this time, he'll be even stronger, but he will drop even more loot. So let's go again. And now you can see we're doing half the damage we did before. We were doing 40, now we're doing like 24. So it's still going to take a little bit longer. And I think he even has double the health. And he's also shooting these like little lightning things at us. All right, one more hit and he should go in his invincible state. There we go. And now we just need to survive for 45 seconds. Okay, no more mobs are being summoned, so now we need to finish them off. Also, another thing, while you're in this area, you cannot fly. My jetpack is not working. All right, about maybe 1 or 2 more hits. Hey, there we go. And if we look here, we got a lot more loot this time. We got some Blacker Lotuses. We got a Dice of Fate. We even got the music disc for the music I was playing. We got a Pinkinator, so we can turn a Wither pink. We got some runes and a bunch of mana stuff. So with all of that now, with the Dice of Fate, actually, we do need one for this guy here, but I need to fight the Gaia Spirit a few more times, so I'll get more. But let's roll this thing and see what we get. There's one item that I really want, well, mainly 2. It's the Ring of Odin and the Ring of Loki. The Ring of Odin will give us more hearts, and I think gives us resistance to elemental damage. And the Ring of Loki will allow us to build and manipulate machines a lot easier. So let's see what we get. Hey, we got it! The Ring of Loki on the first run. There we go. So now with this guy, we can manipulate machines all at the same time once you define the area. But it does require mana. So along with the Creative Mana Pool, I do want to get the creative mana tablet, but yeah, that's going to be a while. So I need to summon the Gaia Spirit a few more times. So let me go ahead and do that. All right, there we go. We have everything now to make ourselves the creative mana pool. So Dice of the Fate, we want to make sure we select this one. And there we go, Everlasting Guilty Pool. So now I can tear down this setup. I don't care about wasting the mana. We have infinite now. And we can even get rid of this setup. So now what we can do is place down the creative mana pool right here. And actually give me back out all of those mana pools because we're going to make this thing extremely fast to craft with. So to do that, we're just going to make a whole row of mana pools here. Give each one a spark, okay? Give the creative mana pool a spark. And we're going to give this one an augment. I think it's called dispersive. And I think when we right click this one on here, it should send mana to all the other mana pools. Okay, maybe it's not that one. Maybe it's the recessive one. I'm missing a Rune of Earth for that. So you know what? I'm actually going to give the Runic Altar a Gaia mana spreader that should allow this thing here to craft very, very fast. Okay, so now that we have a Rune of Earth, let's try the recessive spark. Yeah, there we go. So this will send mana from this mana pool to all of these mana pools. And then since this guy here has the dominant spark, he'll pull from all these mana pools, making this craft extremely fast. Otherwise, it'll just be very, very slow with just the one pool. So now if we look up mana, we can try and craft ourselves our Terra Steel. And yeah, that's fast. All right, nice. So now I just need enough Gaia Spirits now to craft 9 of these ingots. Do I have enough? No, I need to defeat the Gaia Spirit like 3 more times. So yeah, let me go do that. All right, finally, I'm done defeating the Gaia Spirit. I hate this fight. Between the lag and him teleporting everywhere, oh, I hate it. But there we go. We have the 10 Gaia Spirit ingots, meaning now we can make the Draconic Evolution Fusion Crafter. So Draconic Evolution, I have a pattern for it. So we have everything. Craft. And let's see how long this takes. All right, there we go. So our Draconic Evolution Fusion Crafter is finished. So I'm going to set up over here temporarily because I have actually no clue where I'm actually going to build this thing eventually. So for here, just because we have access to an LSC. So we want to place this down. And if we look at the structure, this is what it looks like. And build. And now it's saying we're missing a hatch. That's because we need to place down a maintenance hatch. So I'm going to place the maintenance hatch back here. Then I'm going to attach a UHV energy hatch. UHV should be more than enough power. And then I'm just going to run an infinity wire all the way over to the LSC. Right, so this thing now has power. So how do we hook it up now to the ME system? Well, I'm going to need a crafting input buffer since this recipe I'm going to be doing has fluids in it. So this is what we're looking for. Draconic cores. We are going to need a lot of Icorium, and the only way right now we can get Icorium is through this recipe here. So we need to make this Icore, which is an arcane infusion recipe. Now, it's not that difficult, but trying to grab all these aspects is the biggest problem. So eventually, when we get the Mark III space mining module, we will be able to mine the ingots directly. But for now, I think this is really our only option. There is also the recipe for like the ingots. In here using shadow metal, magic essence, and UU matter. I might do this, but that's a lot of UU matter. And actually, I think I'm starting to get quite low on my UU matter. Yeah, I only have 130 million. That's not going to last me that long. So, and the only way I'm getting it right now is using a mass fabricator or a matter fabricator. So yeah, I might need to make more of these because I only got the one going right now. And it just requires so much power, but might not have a choice. But for now, let's just try and get this thing working. So I'm going to remove 2 blocks right here. We're going to place in a crafting input buffer. We're going to need an ME output. And we're going to connect this now up with a wireless connector from here over to just up here because we have an access to our P2P tunnel. Right, so this thing is pretty much ready now. So we can put everything away. So all I need to do now is create the patterns for the Draconic cores. So it does require a schematic, but we already got the schematic to make this from our Pluto dungeons. We will need another one for the Wyvern core, but that is just made by scanning a Draconic core. So we just need to grab out our schematic. So Draconic core schematic, place this in here, place this in the input holder. And yeah, we just need a bit of cable. All right, and now this thing is pretty much ready. So we can craft ourselves a Draconic core pretty easily. Just turn this thing on. It has to do the infusion recipe as long as hellish metal isn't being made, which it is. Let me actually go up and double check it. And yep, this happened. I don't know why, but sometimes whenever I restart the server or do something different or like come back here from traveling through different dimensions, these two stop being linked. And I have to break the Viz recharge relay to actually get this thing to charge the wand again so that recipes can continue. It's really, really annoying. But I started the scan for the Wyvern core a moment ago, and it's only half done. This has been going for like 5 minutes already, so this is going to take a while. Okay, the ichor is being crafted, and yeah, there we go, Draconic core. And we need 32 of these, because for the Molten Dragon Blood, we need a tier casing of 3. So these ichor fusion casings need to be upgraded to tier 3. So luckily, I can actually just break them and then directly upgrade them to the tier 2 version. But when we get to tier 3, I'm going to need a lot of Wyvern cores. So that means I'm going to need a lot of Icorium. Oh, this is going to be annoying. I might need to do that UU matter recipe anyway. Yeah, I'm going to do it anyway. So let's just try and get ourselves our 32 cores. And I'm going to try and grab enough ichor so we can make 64 Wyvern cores. I already have 32 thanks to opening some loot bags. You get these ones by defeating the Pluto dungeon boss. So I've already gotten a few because I originally was going to use the dislocator instead of this relocator I have. I still might eventually upgrade to it because it doesn't require power. It just needs ender pearls. So yeah, I'll see you when I have everything to upgrade to tier 3 coils. All right, there we go. We have finally upgraded to the tier 3 fusion casings. Now we should be able to mass produce dragon blood. So dragon blood consists of 4 ingredients. A dragon egg, which is not consumed, so that's really good. There is a better version using an infinity egg, but that is... yeah, I need to get deep into witchery to summon a demon a few times, but yeah, that's not going to be too difficult. But awakened draconium, the dragon blood combs, which we're getting from our bees, and a bit of radon plasma. So I just need a stocking input and an output hatch. Actually, probably also a stocking input hatch. And I should be able to connect them right here. Hopefully I have enough channels here. Looks like everything turned on, so that's good. So inside the stocking input hatch, we're going to stock some radon plasma. We don't have a lot because I just started crafting some. Output hatch, that's fine. And then in here, we're going to give it the dragon blood comb, awakened draconium, and the dragon egg is actually set up over my bee area. So any vanilla sword, shift left click to pick up the egg. And now I should be able to just drop this inside the input holder. Actually, I think I can put it directly in here. Yeah, there we go. Molten Dragon Blood. We make 432 liters every 70 seconds. And yeah, is that correct? 432, 432. Perfect. So now we are missing just one ingredient for making hypogen. And that is, where is it? Molten Rugonar. So that is a combination of Molten Infinity and Quantum. Yeah, Quantum is going to be another problem because that does require a alloy blast melter and it's a 600-second recipe. And it also does require a Mark IV fusion reactor. Yeah, this might not happen for a while. Let me just see. Can I make Quantum? I have about 80k to begin, but that's going to be nowhere near enough. And I'm going to want like 10 million of this just to begin making a lot of hypogen. I guess I might as well start the recipe and see what happens. Okay, it's actually not too bad. I thought it was going to be a lot worse than that, but 97 seconds for 1.4k, not bad. So let me go now and grab all the stuff to make the compact fusion reactor. I think I put it all in this chest here, and let's go build this thing. So center block, and I think the way I had the controller set up is the center of the chunk is right here, and it's one back behind that. So if I just remove all these logs now, grab out my projector, and if we preview it, this is how big it is. And yeah, nothing. Wait, all this wood is kind of conflicting on the edges right here. Okay, and yeah, we should be able to build this thing now. Is that it? No more blocks are being placed, so... oh, wait, no, I am missing some blocks. Oh, you know what? I think the blocks I'm missing back here are supposed to be replaced with the energy hatches. All right, now, where do these energy hatches go? So looking at the controller here, if we highlight these spots, looks like the energy hatches go on the blue dots, and then inputs and outputs go on the green dots. So yeah, these need to be placed on the outer corners. Okay, I've been waiting 2 hours for another UHV capacitor to craft so I can like power this setup. I'm done waiting. So I just ran a long laser cable from that LSC to this one so we can at least get this going if I want this video out today. So let's make ourselves our Rugnar. So that is a combination of Molten Quantum and Infinity. So hopefully now when this thing has enough power, actually, let me make sure these are not in there just yet. Never mind, power is already maxed out. So let's just give this thing its Molten Infinity. And will it work? There we go. So we make 9k in 25 seconds. And how much power is this thing consuming? 31 million. That's actually quite a lot. It seems to be using every energy hatch for like... Well, actually, no, it's not using because that will be 64 amps. Okay, so we're using about half the energy hatches here. Damn, that's a lot of power. But at least we'll have a small bit of Rugnar and then we'll be able to make our first hypogen because we actually don't want to be making hypogen this way anyway. We just need to do it this way to get our first piece. Because once we have enough, we can actually use the DTPF to actually duplicate it. So yeah, it still requires a lot of things like molten neutronium, quantum infinity, and this excited dimensionally transcendent prosaic catalyst. So yeah, but at least this way we'll be able to get hypogen. So once we have our first ingot, we can do this duplication route. But for now, we're just going to have to do it in this thing here. So we should have our Rugnar now. So let's actually stop this thing. There we go. And now let's craft ourselves our first hypogen. So we have 27k, we have about 43k molten dragon blood, and start. And there we go, 2.3k hypogen. 409 seconds. Damn. Hope this thing is able to keep up with the power draw. Oh yeah, it is. So how much power is this requiring? 60 amps of UHV power. Yeah, it's basically using all but 2 UHV energy hatches in this whole thing. Now this thing can support multi-amp hatches, so realistically, I didn't actually need to go and attach an energy hatch on every point. But yeah, for now, we'll have to do it this way. But yeah, so now we are making our first hypogen. And with hypogen comes cheaper ZPM circuits, but yeah, we're not going to be doing this recipe for a while. So next episode, I think we're going to work on getting ourselves our UIV circuits, because once we have UIV circuits, we'll have access to this guy here, the QFT, which will allow us to do better tier recipes than we are doing. So like the Naquata line, the Prismarine line, all of the Netherite lines, they'll all be done inside this guy. But the main thing I'm looking forward to is getting this thing, the wireless data bank transmissions. With these, we won't have to be wiring up our assembly lines using data banks anymore. We'll be able to attach a wireless hatch instead of a cable, and we'll be able to connect up as many of these as we want to it. So next episode, better tier circuits, be able to get ourselves to wireless data banks. That way we can finally upgrade our assembly lines, because this is just the slowest part on crafting anything. Like 6 seconds for one Lapatronic energy orb cluster. Like it's taken over 2 hours and I've still got 1,000 of these to go. So yeah, next episode, better circuits. And then episode after that is going to be a massive infrastructure overhaul as well as power upgrades. So yeah, I'm going to call it there. So hope you all enjoyed. And if you did, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and hit the notification bell while you're at it then as well. So without any further ado, goodbye.